do an incredible job of taking care of the homeless needs here in Berkeley. And I've stopped down here a couple of times, and the last time I stopped down, I observed what was going on, and I have my own visions of the homeless and my own opinions and my own thing, but a lot of times your vision of what's going on is built on ignorance because you're not in it. And I've never been a part of the inner city, as they call it. I've always been a country boy, so I see homeless people when I come through, and I lived in Monterey, and I used to help the homeless there a lot. I would try to get them jobs and stuff like that, and sometimes they would show up on the job and sometimes they wouldn't. But when I came here, I was really struck by one thing. I expected the young kids who are on drugs. Okay, I expected that, and I expected the people who not quite all there upstairs. Okay, walking around talking to yourself. I remember back before Ronald Reagan, when those people were in America, we had places that they could go. Sure. But what I was struck by was that there were a lot of clear-eyed, clearly not on drugs, even senior citizens. I was struck at how many senior citizens I saw, and I looked at them, and I could see that they were just people who, for whatever reason, they don't have a home. Right. Now, I'm a senior. If I had to live off much of my life, of course, living the outlaw life like I didn't pay taxes most of my life anyway. It was just, I'd run around. But if I had to live on what the government gives me, I would have to be on the street. I couldn't pay rent with that. I couldn't buy food with that, really.
Most of us are one paycheck away.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, I'm gonna start this show off, and I'm gonna end it with. Most of you viewers out there who've been following me, you know how I revere the songwriter Stephen Foster from the 1800s. I loved all of his stuff. There was one point in his life where Stephen Foster's career had taken a nosedive, and he was worried. People was tired of Stephen Foster. And then his best friend for all of his life died. And right after his best friend died, his mother died. And if that wasn't enough, after his mother died, his wife left him. So Stephen Foster was in the midst of loneliness, despair, and just everything. And he wrote this song called Hard Times. And when I looked out over the crowd here the other day, I said, that's the song I got to do. Hard Times. I'm gonna do a little bit of it. Let us pause in life's pleasure and count this many tears as we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard time, come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty and music light and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. Though their voices may be silent, their pleading looks will say, oh, hard time, come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard time, come again no more. Many days you have lingered outside my cabin door, Oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard time, come again no more. It's the sigh of the troubled wave. It's a wail that is heard upon the shore. It's a dirge that is murmured across the lonely grave. Oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard times, come again no more. Oh, hard time, come again no more. Stephen Foster, 1854. 1854, Stephen Foster.
Beautiful.
Darling, introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Robbi Montoya. I'm the executive director of the beautiful Dorothy House in beautiful downtown Berkeley.
And I want to know how long have you been in existence? How did this start? And
Sure. Personally, I've been working in social services for 43 years. Dorothy House was created by a wonderful team of volunteers, literally out of their own kitchens. And what they would do is every morning they would boil some eggs, make some grits and some oatmeal, and bring it out to the folks every morning at People's Park and the surrounding areas. Then, about 10 years later, we were able to get our first contract with the city of Berkeley, and we started a seasonal shelter called the BESS shelter, Berkeley Emergency Storm Shelter. To this day, we still have that shelter. It's, like I said, seasonal, so when it's raining or it's super cold, people have a safe place to go in the wintertime. Since then, we've really blossomed into serving the community, both in community meals, something we are, just really known for. And Dorothy Day herself was very adamant about feeding the hungry and clothing the poor. Her viewpoints, to my understanding, were very simplistic in that we just need to do what needs to be done. And so we carry that thought. And we do all of our services behind our core values. We know that if we lead with love and our core values, that everything we do is going to be fruitful and impactful for the people that we serve. Right now we have several shelters. We have a daytime drop-in where we have maybe 80 showers a day. I figured out one time that it would take one person 3.5 months to use the services that we do in one day. And, and we're just here for the folks, whatever needs to be done. We also created an outreach program and called the MOST, Mobile Outreach Service Team. We're very proud of that. We take our food truck out. And here's one of our philosophies is choice. A lot of people come and, for example, if they need clothing, basically they get what they are given. That's it. No choice. Yeah. This is what we have in your size. That's all. One of our major philosophies is to give people as many choices as possible. We do that with our food truck. When we bring out our food truck in outreach, what we'll do is we'll put items that we have to offer in display and give people a food shopping bag. And they get the opportunity to come up and take what they want.
What a great thing. They homeless get to choose.
They get to choose.
That's wonderful.
It restores dignity and self-respect and all those things. And, happy people are productive people, right? Even myself, if I'm happy, I'm more productive, I'm more joyful. And that's it too, is we want to bring joy, just a sense of joy. It's hard. I have some lived experience myself. Many of our folks here at Dorothy Day do. And so we know what doesn't work. And so we just remove that from the equation and fill those voids up with things that we feel would work. And if they don't work, then we try again, And there's nothing wrong with backing up and going a different route, and instead of getting kind of stuck in the traditional way of doing things. It's a different age than it was when I was growing up, right? And so, that's it. Choice, dignity, respect, leading everything we do with love and core values. It's super important. You can't go wrong if you do it that way.
Wonderful. Yeah. Absolutely wonderful. My goodness, this is turning into more than what I expected. You are doing some wonderful. And Dorothy Day must have been an extraordinary person. I know nothing about her.
Well, she has a lot of books out, and
then
yeah,
I'm gonna have to go that route.
Yep,
Okay.
I have some books in my office. I'm happy to share with you. But yeah, she was an extraordinary. I've had the opportunity of meeting a few people that have actually met her. In fact, one woman came into my office. She was 82 at the time. This was a few years ago. And she had actually had Dorothy at her house for a couple of summers on the East Coast. And oh my gosh, we talked for hours. I did not want to let her out of my office. It was so interesting. But everything I imagined her to be, through reading the books, is exactly the impression that I got. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And how many years have this been going right here?
Right here at Center Street. We're located at 1931 Center Street, and we've been here since 2018. We got into negotiation with the city of Berkeley in 2017, I believe, and then our first contract. And then since then, we've gotten several contracts. So we have the benefit of having our location at 1931, and it services a couple of programs. So during the day, it's the Berkeley Community Resource Center, where all people are welcome. We provide free breakfast, free lunch, and listen to this, we're open 7 days a week. So Saturdays and Sundays, of course, people still need to eat.
I've just made a decision. I'm getting a shopping cart.
Okay. Well,
because I looked at the food when I was walking down the ramp. I said, wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
This.
It's extraordinary.
Yes.
We would not even think about giving somebody a meal that we wouldn't enjoy ourselves. And we really rely heavily on our volunteers and donations. We are completely donation and volunteer driven. We have a handful of employees, but we have about 80 full-time volunteers. So imagine how much work that is.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So those of you out there listening, this is a good place to donate, to make some donations to Dorothy Day House.
Yeah.
The work that they're doing, it's God's work. Okay, and how many departments do you have? I heard you had a bunch of different departments.
Well, we don't necessarily. Well, we have departments in terms of we have a food service department, and we do housing navigation, and we do our daytime services, like the showers and the laundry. But right now we have, in terms of programs, like I said, we have the outreach program, we have workforce development. We're getting ready to open up a voucher-based thrift store. Listen to this. Where all of our agencies, partner agencies, will get vouchers for their clients or their participants. And what it will do is we'll provide all of those folks with what we're calling Dorothy dollars. And they could go to the store, and it's a beautiful store located in the Telegraph area here in Berkeley, and they can shop like everyone else, and from head to toe, and use their Dorothy dollars and get a bag, and out the door they go. And in the store, what's going to be remarkable is we're going to have screens that are looped with services so that people don't necessarily have to ask, right? Sometimes it's hard to ask for help.
Oh, yes.
And so this way, it's there. It's available. The information's available consistently while the store is open. And so people will walk away with clothing, resources, and all that free of charge, of course, to whoever needs it. There's no criteria, just come. And so we have that going on, and then we have a hotel that we're running as a shelter, and everybody who comes to us, no matter whether they're in the daytime drop-in, the hotel, or outreach, our goal is to meet what they want, right? Not necessarily what we think they want, but what it is that they're looking for, whether it's permanent housing, whether it's just a shower, or a healthy meal. You have to ask the questions. We can't always assume that everybody wants the same thing.
I love the razor focus that this organization has on not just giving a handout, but dignity.
Hand up.
Yes. That's that's the way.
That's the way.
That's the way.
Yeah. People
That's
have
the
to be invested in their own futures, and we're only, we're there to provide whatever service and support that we can. And here's the thing: if we don't have the answers, which we don't always have the answers or the available resources, we'll find the persons who can. And there's plenty. Listen, Berkeley is one of the best cities where the partners work together. There's no silos, right?
Berkeley has always been
always, yeah.
Yes.
And so, we have a service calendar where we have our partner agencies. They come in here, and a lot of the people that we serve are the same folks that they serve. So let's find one place where everybody can meet together and roll out those services. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, we have a great relationship with the folks, for sure.
My goodness, this is an eye opener for me, and like I said, there's such a variety of homeless people.
That's true.
There are those who have mental problems, of course, and there's the segment of who have been living like this for so long that they don't want to.
Right.
They don't want to change. I can understand that to a certain degree. Back in the old days, when I was coming up in the 40s and 50s, I spent some time in a whole culture that was called hobos back in those days. And hobos were different than the urban homeless people. Hobos, we jumped on freight trains, we hopped freight trains and traveled all over the country.
Yeah.
And we would always we knew where the work was.
Yeah.
So you followed the work. When you could go to a farm and they needed work, you work for a while. And when you got tired, you just caught another freight train and went someplace else.
Yeah.
So, but that was a choice that because it was adventurous.
Sure.
I mean, my goodness, hobos had a hell of a life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
Exciting.
great.
Yeah.
But this situation is not a choice.
No, not always.
Sometimes it is, yes,
Yeah.
yes. But when I looked at those seniors here, and I said to myself, if not for me being able to still, I'm still rolling, to still work and keep myself busy, if it wasn't for that, I would be there.
Yeah. Or for the grace of God going.
Yes, because there's no way I could survive on what I get from the government.
Yeah.
No way. I could buy food maybe, but that would be hard.
Right. And a lot of folks, you're absolutely right. Last year we opened with the horrible rain that we suffered in the East Bay and in many other places. The city opened another warming center, seasonal shelter to meet that need. And it was really heartbreaking and eye-opening when we saw probably a quarter of the folks that came in there who were either wheelchair bound or people over 55, and we had a couple people in their early 80s, and it was heartbreaking. And so in those cases, with when we have such a short time with them, 6 months or whatever the case may be. What we really try to focus on is trying to get them into something more permanent, another permanent, shelter, preferably one of ours, and to work towards some permanent housing solutions or family reunification. And we've been very successful in that route too. It's not always, like I said, there's so many different ways to meet the need. We just have to kind of think outside the box and not be so traditional in our way of thinking. We've had success in family reunification to the extent where you had a early 80s person reunify with their daughter, and I can't really tell you whether they're together today.
Yeah,
but it was very promising.
The fact that you did it.
They didn't even know that person was homeless. They didn't even know it. So
that's a point there. I did a concert. I did a music show for a group over in Oakland. They have this homeless community there where they have all these cabins or whatever, and I wanted to do a show like this, and I told them I wanted to talk with the homeless people. And the lady called me back a few days later. She says it's very difficult. She said because a lot of these people don't want to be on camera.
Very true.
Because a lot of them have friends or relatives back wherever they're from, and they don't want them to know what their situation is.
Yeah.
And I thought about it for a minute, and I said, I'm like that. I wouldn't want people to.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. There's such a stigma on homelessness, and you said it early on, is that there's so many ways and reasons why a person would find themselves without a home. And one of them is, I know we both probably know a lot of people who are living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, yes.
COVID hit. A lot of folks lost their ability to live in their apartments then. A lot of people had to choose between rent or food because they lost their jobs. So there's so many ways. It's not traditional in that, a person does drugs or has mental health. It's not always that simple. Sometimes losing a job, having to live outside, and then months become years, and then they get depression, and then other types of mental health kick in. So, one could lead to the other quite easily, right? I mean, I don't know too many people who would have so many things that they're suffering through and not be emotionally affected by that. So, it's not a cookie cutter population whatsoever. And then you have your RVs too, and there's another subset, right? So you have folks who choose to call their RVs home, and that's great. But then food might be an issue, or parking might be an issue, right? So, there's all different types of subsets, and just kind of broadening out our scope and not generalizing, but trying to capture all of the different subcategories of homelessness is really important.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about solving the homeless problem. It's a hard problem to solve.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is to try to make it easier.
Sure. Yeah.
And what this organization is doing, because it's a hard problem, and a lot of people rag on California, and I can understand that, but it's a problem all over the country and all over the world.
Right.
All over the world.
Right.
And it's going to be a hard problem to actually solve, But I am so happy that I ran into this.
Oh, I'm so glad you did too.
Because it has really, like I said, I had my own view of the homeless problem. But when I came down here and I was right in the middle of all of these people, and I'm looking at them and going, wow, this is a whole different animal than what I thought.
Yeah. Right.
And to see the senior citizens and the little old lady, somebody's grandma.
Yeah.
And they're living outside. You know, I can't. You know, I'm still having trouble getting that through.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, no, absolutely. And so there's other things that we do. And you, again, you said it so perfectly, is the problem of homelessness is way bigger than I'll ever, be able to even wrap my head around. But all we can do is what we can do. And that means providing a locker, so that people don't lose their precious belongings, or providing a shower, or having a place where they can receive mail. These are all things that we just take for granted to a certain degree, because we have a home, we have an address, and we have a place to store our belongings. Not everybody is that fortunate. A lot of folks have said to me, well, I've had people tell me that we're enabling the homeless population and by doing all this. And, I look at it a lot like Dorothy Day looked at it. And if people are hungry, I don't have time to debate on the aspect of enabling or all of that big picture stuff while their stomach is growling.
Feed them.
Yes. In the amount of time it would take me to have that discussion, they're going to be famished. Let's just feed the people.
Yeah.
Let's just feed them. Nobody should go hungry. In the United States, you go into most grocery stores, and you go into the produce department, and because I've been in other countries, and so I go into the produce department a lot thinking how lucky we are. We have fresh apples and oranges and bananas and lettuce and all these things, and yet we have people who are starving. And it's now that's hard to wrap your head around.
Yes,
right?
Yes, it is, because when you go to other countries, you realize how plentiful everything is here. We have everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
We have everything. And then somebody made a statement once which has a lot of truth in it. They said there's no shortage of food. There's no shortage of food in the world. There's a shortage of money to buy the food. That's
Yeah.
And the waste.
Yeah, the waste.
I mean, America throws away. I mean, the average American family throws away more food than some people have.
I had a college professor say that. Now, I don't know if this is true, but I had a college professor once tell us that we throw away in 1 year what the entire world combines does. And whether it's true or not, it gave me, no pun intended, it gave me food for thought. It made me think about what I'm throwing away, and what my family might throw away. So we've had those discussions.
Well, we throw away so much here that if that's not true, it's not far from the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of waste that America throws away, I mean, good stuff.
Yeah.
It's just remarkable.
Yeah. And we do take advantage of that, by the way, too,
yes.
Dorothy Day. Because we couldn't possibly feed 450 people a day, which, by the way, that's as high as our numbers get. 450 people a day. We couldn't possibly do that if we had to go out and purchase every single thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of our things are donated, and we cover a lot of food that would otherwise go to waste, and we use it that day to
That is wonderful.
Yeah,
That is wonderful.
It's very important to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are doing some wonderful, wonderful work here.
Thank you.
Dorothy House. My goodness, we're gonna have to do this again another time.
I would be honored.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I really want people to think about what we can do. There's so much hatred, and so much, all of this stuff that especially this country is going through now, the division and all of this crap. I would really ask people to, think about making a donation to this organization right here. Your money will be well spent. You will be doing you will be doing something good, and we all need to do that once in a while, just to make ourselves feel good. If it makes you feel good, do it.
That's right.
But please try to make a donation. I'm gonna do it. Okay, I'm already committed. So we're gonna close this out here. We could go on and on and on, but we're gonna close this out here now. And I'm gonna be in touch with you. We're gonna talk again, and we're gonna come back and do another one, a more targeted. Just ad-libbing.
Right.
Improvisation.
Sure.
But yeah, we're going to get some subjects that you really want to dive into, and we're going to do it.
Right.
Okay. Now, and there's my darling. I talked to her over the phone several times, and I was thinking to myself, oh yeah, she's some young girl, she's a teenager, because you got that voice like a teenager. I said, oh, she's a teenager, she's probably a volunteer, and she walks up and I went,
yeah, Christy Mack. She's wonderful. And that's she's a testament of the powerful and committed staff that we have. Everybody here, everybody who works for Dorothy House is 1,000% committed to our mission. And that's what makes us a family.
I'm going to close out with this Stephen Foster song. Could you just sit here for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah, I had, like I said, I'm a big Stephen Foster fan, but I had never even considered playing this song. I knew about it, but I had never considered playing it until I came down here. And when I left, I got in my car and I said, hard times.
Inspiration. Love it.
Yes. Okay, once again. No, hold it. Let me stop. Just 1 minute. Yeah. And like I said, I walked down the ramp, and I looked over at the food, and I said, "Wait a minute here."
Yeah.
Here's where I need to come here to eat.
Every day it's like that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Let me see if did I turn this on? Nope. Okay. That's good. Okay. Let's see if we can do it. Oh, I know. Ignorant me. Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard time, come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty and music light and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. Though their voices may be silent, their pleading eyes eyes will say, oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard time, come again no more. It's the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times, come no more. Many days you have lingered outside my cabin door. Oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard time, come again no more. Oh, hard, oh, oh, hard time, come again no more. Stephen Foster. Darling,
Thank you. It was an absolute delight.
this is Alligator In Alignment. Those of you in Monterey, remember that I'm at the Elroy's Bonton Lighthouse Smokehouse every second Saturday night. We partied in there like you wouldn't believe. Remember, try to get out your money orders, your checkbooks, whatever you do, and make a donation to Dorothy House. I'm asking you to do that because I'm gonna do it, and let's help, okay? That's all I gotta say right now. This is Alligator. Happy trails. I'll see you next time.